Hello, this is Victor and I want to do a video explaining my review on the Warhammer 7th edition book. I will give what are my impressions. I will not go into the details, but I will try to pinpoint what I think is going to change our games in this 7th edition and what I think is different from the 6th edition. I will go chapter by chapter. Maybe it's a little bit long, but I think will be interesting to see how the game is changing in this 7th edition. So let's start from the beginning. General principles. I don't see any big difference there that will be a game changer. The only thing is that there's a big game changer, but I will talk later on, is they will include now the psychic phase in the turn. So in the turn they will include the psychic phase. I will cover this later on. In movement, now they clarify the movement of going up in rings or in buildings. So now the movement up is 3 inches, and also they explain now better what is how to keep coherency with units that are in different floors of the same building. And the coherency, vertical coherency, is 6 inches instead of 2. So anyway, I think this was done in that. I was applying this in my previous 6th edition, so this is a clarification that I think is good. And then the next point is, after the movement phase, now there is the psychic phase. So the psychic phase, now all the psychic powers have to be used during the psychic phase. And during this phase, the person that have the turn, the player that have the turn, have to manifest all the powers. How it works is the player throw a d6, and then is adding the mastery level of all the psychers. Sorry. So if you have a psyker of level 3 and a psyker of level 1, you have 4 dice plus the d6. For example, it can be a 3, it will be 7. And then the opponent will have the same to deny the witch. Then to manifest the power, you can throw as many dice as you want, and you have to have more 4 or plus than the warp charges that the power needs. For example, if you throw in a power of warp charge 2, you need 2 4-ups to be able to manifest. So how this is affecting the game today is, first of all, throwing powers are not as easy as before. So if you only want to throw 1 dice, you have 50% for a power of 1 warp charge, while before any psyker that have leadership 9 or 10 was able to use powers very easily. Now all the powers are in the same phase, so it's more tidy and it's making easier to remember the powers and when to launch the powers. The other thing now is that you can deny blessings and powers that have not a direct target on your army. That before was not possible. It's difficult to deny the witch because you need 6s and you have to throw as many 6s as 4 from your opponent. But at least you have the opportunity to deny the witch that previously was not possible. So this means that now there is a strategy how you want to organize your powers, in what order you want to throw them, and the other have to keep the strategy how to deny the witch and what powers have to deny, they prefer to deny, and what powers you just let the opponent player to let it go. So there is a lot of fuss on this, and especially because they also change the powers. I will cover this in a separate video, but it's just one thing here. There is a new type of powers that are called demonology, what have the Santic and the Malefic powers. And the Malefic powers have a lot of invocation of summoning powers. So you have summoning, you can have sacrifice, or you can have possession. Both summons units on the battlefield. It seems that demons will have advantage to spam demons on the table by summoning or by sacrificing. but yeah, this we have to see more how it's working. I think no, it's a big change, but I think it's a very good change to have the psychic phase in here. I think when we do armies now, we have to take into account that psychers the psychers and maybe know all the weapons or all the equipment that are anti-psyker make more sense today, because I see that psychers we are going to be more psychers on the battlefield, so make more sense to have some tools to fight the psychers if you don't have in your army, or use allies or other type of tricks. But it's like vehicles. You need something to deal with vehicles. I think in future you will need something to deal with psychers. You cannot live a full phase of the game without any type of intervention. Then on the shooting phase, there are not I don't remember big changes, but the only thing that now you if the squad have different weapons, you shoot weapon by weapon. For example, if you have a tactical squad where you have 4 marines with bolters and 1 marine with a melta gun, you can you have to first use one of the weapons, for example the melta gun, and then you will use the ball guns, and you throw them separately and in different order. So first you solve all the hits from the melta, for example, and then you solve all the hits from the ball gun. This is solving the issue that the different ranges of the weapon. So now if the weapon have no range, or the range of the weapon only can hit 2 of the opponent units, you cannot hit the third one. So you have to also choose in what order you want to use your weapons to avoid that. For example, imagine that you are shooting with this same unit I explained before to another unit that is have only one miniature at 12 inches and the rest are over 12 inches. You will use first the melta gun to be able to kill and to use the melta gun, and then later on you will use the bolters. Apart of that, there is not other changes here. Then we go into the weapons are more or less the same. No weapons of strength D are included in the rulebook. I will tell them later on. And also there is a new type of weapon that is called bomb. That is the bombs that we have in some codex. So they just clarify here how the bombs work. Not very different from what we have in our codex. Then in the solve phase, it's almost the same. The only difference is no dangerous terrain. Difficult terrain is not. It's working that you throw 2d6 and you subtract 2 from the roll. So it's still random charge distance and 2d6, and then if it's through difficult terrain, you throw 2d6 and you subtract 2, and this is the final result to assault. And no more things here, I think, or the rest of the combat. Oh, there is another one, yeah, here. The challenges have changed a lot. Now when a miniature is winning a challenge and is making more wounds than what the opponent can absorb. For example, imagine that you attack with a monstrous creature and then you have a challenge with a sergeant. If you do 3 wounds to this sergeant, you kill the sergeant, then you pass 2 wounds to the rest of the squad. So no small characters will not stop the big ones from damaging the unit. So you have to be more choiceful with the challenges, and it's changing a little bit the rules on how the challenge were used up to now. And then we have the morale. No changes here on the morale. It's working now. And we go to the next chapter of the book, that is the unit types. Then on unit types, here one thing is more a special rule, but I think it's good to cover here. Jink have changed a lot. Now you have to decide if you jink or not before throwing to hit. So for example, when your enemy is declaring that is going to hit your vehicle or your bikes, you have to choose if you're going to jink or not. If you jink, you have 4+ cover save, but the next turn you will only have you can only do snapshots. So this is also changing. So this is affecting bikes, jet bikes, skimmers, and all the units that can do jinx, like also flyers. Apart of that, the other thing is the rules for monstrous creatures are not as strong as before. So now smash, it's only one attack, not half of the attacks. And flying monstrous creatures, when they do vector strike, is only doing one hit if it's to a ground unit, and it's D3 hits if it's a flying. So now the vector strike is less strong on grounded units. Then the other one is that, of course, vector strike have changed, but on the other side they have the benefit that if they only have to do one grounding check if they receive a wound during the shooting. So if you shoot a monstrous flying creature and you don't do any wound, he's not going to be grounded. And the other negative point on the or the other nerf point on the monstrous creatures is that no, they cannot assault the turn that they change from zooming to swapping. So they have, if they change flying mode, no, they cannot assault the turn that they change the flying mode. We also have in the book now the gargantuan and flying gargantuan creatures. We also have the super heavy vehicles. Vehicles have received some boost. No, there is two things. There is for me a boost, and this thing there is a change that is not talked a lot, but is changing also a lot. It's affecting a lot vehicles like Lemurus. So now the first, the damage table is very different from before. So from 1 to 3. So I'm looking now for from 1 to 3 is crew shaken, 4 is crew stunned, 5 is weapon destroyed, 6 is immobilized, and 6 plus is explode. So you only can explode a vehicle if you are shooting with weapons of AP2 or 1, or the vehicle is open top. Or you can destroy the vehicle if you remove all the hull points as before. But this is making the vehicle much more durable. I think now vehicles of armor 14 are going to be much stronger on the battlefield. But on the other thing, I don't know if it's different or not, but I'm pretty sure this difference. Now when vehicles is fighting Ordnance, again, all the rest of the weapons only can do snap shooting. So what that means, if you have a Lemonroth shooting the battle cannon, it's better not to put plasma on the sponsors, because they will not be able to shoot the plasma cannon, because they only can do then snap shooting with the rest of the weapons, and they will not be able to shoot blast weapons. Neither templates, but I mean, so this is a big difference for me from before. I think before this was not the case. No Lemonroths are heavy, so this means that they always count as stationary, even if they move at combat speed, and they cannot do cruising speed. But it's not impacting in this rule, because this rule says just if you shoot Ordnance, the rest of the weapons have to be on the snap shooting. Okay, then the obscuring on the vehicles. Vehicles is obscured before if you cover 25% of the vehicles. No other changes. So vehicles are more durable, and I think a little bit stronger if you have Ordnance and you want to use sponsors. The transport, no, the transported units are hit again with a strength 4. So you have to be careful when transporting units, because they are hit stronger if the vehicle explodes. Now there are 2 new rules for vehicle for transporting. First, if a vehicle is exploding, the unit inside is receiving a strength 4 hit, and the unit outside is also receiving a strength 4 hit. So now the explosion is stronger. if the vehicle is flying, is falling down, and then is strong, remember it's 10 AP2, something like that. And the other thing is, no flamers can damage units that are on open top transport. So if you shoot with a template weapon on an open top transport, now you cause these 6 hits on the unit inside. Other rule, chariots now are much better clarified. I think the rules for chariots now are much more clear. Very important, note the rider of the chariot is riderless. So the chariot from Thange that the exalted incinerator was not able to shoot because it had a heavy weapon, now can shoot because it's considered that it's riderless. And chariots are also locked in close combat like walkers or like other units, like infantry units. So chariots is a vehicle that is in between a bike, between a vehicle and an infantry unit. So it's have some rules similar to the walkers and some rules similar to vehicles and bikes. No big changes on walkers, no big changes on the tanks. Now we have the super heavy here. The super heavy vehicles are also in the basic rulebook, so super heavy are part of the rulebook today. Super heavy walkers, super heavy flyers, all is here. We also have the explanation of the most typical upgrades, those are latest armor, so no big changes there. Then on characters, the big difference is the challenges that I explained before. So now the extra wounds you do in a challenge will go to the unit. This is important, will change the way to issue the challenges. It's very similar to 6th edition, but there are some changes that will make the game a little bit different. Then we have here all the rules for terrain and for buildings. All is explained here, all the special rules are here. The damage table is also in that book. We also have all the grades for vehicles, for buildings explained here in the book, but we don't have any building profile, so you will need a stronghold to have the buildings profile. If you want to use building, you will need a stronghold to buy the buildings, to know the points, to know what are the characteristics of the building. And now we go to another part that have changed a lot. From this point to the end of the book, there are a lot of changes. First, in choosing your army. Now choosing your army, it's completely different. You have the unbound armies, so you take whatever you want from your collection and you put on the table. The only limit is that you respect the points. Or you can take Battleforged armies. But Battleforged armies are much more freedom, have much more freedom than before. So all Battleforged armies will have the primary detachment, and then you can add as many detachments as you want. So you can add 3 primary detachments to put as example. So you can add 3 times the detachments from the same book if you want to put 3 HQs, and then you have to put 6 lines and 6 troops, and then you can put allied detachments that are like before. You can add formations. You can add the Lord of War. So you can add as many detachments as you want. But you have to respect the minimum, the mandatory units for each detachment. This is the only rule. So there is much more freedom. So now, what is the advantage of the detachments versus unbound armies? There are 2 main benefits. The first one is Battleforged armies can repeat when throwing the die for warlord traits. This doesn't seems to be a big benefit. But the other one that I think is much bigger is the troops from Battleforged armies have secured the objective rule. So this means that if you have a troop next to an objective, the opponent cannot control this objective if not killing completely your troops. If you don't have secure the target, then your enemy can also score at the same time than you. So nobody is seizing the objectives to the other. So nobody is blocking the other to score from the objective. So the way to protect the objective and avoid that the enemy is scoring is to be Battleforge armies and have a troop around the objective. The Warlord Weights table, no, there are 4 tables. There are 4 tables. I will not go into detail on the Warlord Weights. More are very similar to before. There is one that the new one is the tactical traits that are mainly advantage to control objective when you use the new missions. The allies table have changed a lot. They reduce a lot battle brothers. There is still some battle brothers, for example, cows and demons, and cows, demons, and space marines of chaos are battle brothers. The 2 elders are battle brothers, and all the empire armies are in a big block, and all empire armies are battle brothers within them. So Adeptas Sodoritas, Astro Militarum, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Grey Knights, Imperial Knights, Inquisition, Space Marines, and Space Wolf are all battle brothers. And then we go into preparing a battle, and here in preparing a battle there are also big change. Now we have Eternal War mission table, is the same missions as before. The only difference is that in the missions where before only fast attack or in big guns never tire, where only the heavy support was scoring. Now everybody is scoring, but the point is you give points if you kill the fast attack or the heavy support, but no big difference, is working more or less the same. The big new is the Maelstrom of War. Maelstrom of War is a way to play that where each turn, depending on the scenario, each turn you have some objective, and when you accomplish one objective you get some points and you change the objectives during the battle. For example, I have to control the target number 2. Once I control this target, I get 1 point, and then I have a new objective that I have to accomplish in the next turn. So it's very dynamic way of playing. I think I want to test as soon as possible, but it's making the game much more dynamic. There are different ways to do it. For example, there is one that is escalation, that you start with 1 objective, then on second turn you and draw another objective, and then you have 2, then on third turn you have 3, on fourth turn you have 4, and there is another one that is the other way around, so you start with 6 and then you go to 5, 4, 3. So there are different objectives, and the objective can go from controlling a point on the battlefield. So at the beginning of the battle you have to put on the battlefield 6 objectives, and you have to number the objectives from 1 to 6. So there are half of the objective is to control one of them. So, but then you have objectives like killing the opponent warlord, or killing a unit from the opponent, or killing a psyker. So I think it's very interesting to play. It's giving a new dimension, and why not to invent your own missions in future? So I think this is a good way to start, and I guess they will give new tables and new missions in future, because this opened the game to a lot of new missions. And then we go to the appendix, where we have special rules, and a lot of these special rules have small changes. So there are a lot of that are the same, but or are very similar, but they have small changes. For example, and they shall know no fear. No, when they regroup, they don't move 3 inches. They stay where they regroup, and then they can move as normal 6 inches. So they don't win the 3 inches that they used to win. And now we have the rules for Apocalyptic Blast. So all the apocalyptic weapons is explained here. Blind also have changed a little bit. Blind is you do an initiative test at the end of the phase, where you receive an impact from a blind weapon, or you are affected by a blind ability. Barrage, when it's multiple barrage Now all the hits are considered are coming from the center of the first template. Deep Strike, I think there was also Deep Strike is more or less the same. Now they explain a little bit more detail the vehicles. There are a lot of destroyer weapons. I think this one is good to cover. Destroyer weapons can change a lot. Now, if you throw one, it's not doing anything. If you throw 2 to 5 in a vehicle, you have a solid hit, so you remove these 3 hull points. If it's infantry, you remove these 3 wounds. But now you can take cover save and invulnerable saves. And it's you have to take into account that like if the weapon have a strength 10 in case of instant death. So if the infantry have toughness 5 or less, it's instant kill if they are wounded, because you have to consider the strength 10. And then if you throw a 6, then the model suffers a penetrating hit and causes d6 plus 6, so the vehicle is destroyed unless you are super heavy. No save of any kind are allowed, and the same for the infantry. You cause d6 plus 6 wounds, and not any save is allowed. So I think the weapon is less strong than before, so now you have cover and invulnerable save against the weapons. But there are other small changes over, for example, poison attacks are only repeating 2 wounds if the weapon have a strength bigger than the toughness. And there are, I think this is, you have to go into detail there. For me the sensation is they are increasing the resistance of the units, and they are decreasing a little bit the offensive power of their weapons, with the D weapon being minimized. The monstrous creatures that cannot assault the turn that they change. Now the Jink have better cover, but then you are less offensive on the next turn. Vector Strike is 1 attack if the unit is not flying. What more? Smash Attack, only 1 attack, no half of your attacks. So I have the feeling they have decreased a little bit the offensive power of the units in 7th edition, and they have increased the resistance. Vehicles have increased a lot. Monstrous creatures have decreased a little bit. And then we have the phase. One thing that is important, we have the psychic phase. Anything that you do in the psychic phase is not affecting the shooting. So no psyker can do 2 witch powers, 2 witch fire powers during the psychic phase and then shoot the ball gun. So I think, summarizing, the rules are for me much clearer. They go into much detail. I think they cover better the different situations of the battle. Overall, the psychic phase is tidying up all the mess with all the psychic powers. I think now it's much easier to, it's more clear to have one phase with all the psychic powers. I don't think the psychics per se are going to be stronger. I think you have to be more choiceful with the powers that you want to use. The only problem is that they create new psychic powers, and demonology is opening the doors for summoning a lot of new creatures on the battlefield, and it seems that people is concerned on that point. We have to see more how it evolves. And overall, I think they decrease the offensive power and they increase the resistance of the unit. So I hope this has been a good overview for you. Maybe I speak too much, but I hope it has been interesting. So thanks a lot for watching this video. Please comment, I want to see your opinion on the 7th edition. And like if you like it. So thanks a lot for watching this video, and see you again later. Bye.